a metal bro. Mental meltdown, giving in flames. Chris and Henrik bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content. Better games, ripping through pixels, the ultimate game to get away. The ultimate. Rave over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news. Industry that can't escape, reviewing video games. No need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jams. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quits. Rage quits. I'm losing my mind. Chris and Henrik, they're talking gaming all the time. Rage quits. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back and nothing else to compare. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair.
What's raging, gamers? Welcome to the season 11 launch of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
Hey, you know what? It's time for the show, and I'm ready, Chris. Are you not ready as well?
Hell yeah, man. I mean, think about it. I just got to bask it all in. 11 seasons. I think we've done this a few too many times, right? And we can't thank you, the gamers, for all the love and support over the years, because without you, this show would not be possible. And you know, even before we even begin, we just want to make sure that everybody that hasn't, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channels, go ahead and scan the QR code. This will link you directly to my YouTube channel, but also you got the homeboy, HenricK the Wreck.
Yes, you see that QR code, you know where it goes. It goes to my YouTube channel. What are you waiting for? Huh?
Yeah, like,
I
why do
see
we
you.
have to?
Yeah,
why do
you're
we
right
have to
there.
instruct gamers on how to use a QR code? You guys pretty much know how to use electronics, so like, what are you waiting for? Always hit the notification bell. That will always alert you when we go live at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, as you clearly, the viewers on right now, know what's good. But we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulated all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. After a perfect Arc Raiders loot run. I'm sure a lot of us have already gone through this by now because it's like it easily is like the hottest game going even into the new year. Wouldn't you say, HenricK?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are still playing it compared
Yeah.
to some other games and the games that came out last year.
But it's only the early days, and we will cover some of
Yeah,
the hottest
yeah.
games in January dropping this month. But this player gets down and then reacts the only way rational. This is the only way you think. I mean, you start screaming, help! Oh, God! And then all of a sudden you feel like you're on a true crime podcast. And then you don't realize that that scream was so convincing that a neighbor tried to kick the door in, only to discover that this wasn't even the gamer's house. And the neighbor was a firefighter who thought he'd stumbled into a hostage situation, not a gamer folding under pressure. And so as we roll this clip, serious question, gamers. At what point does immersive gameplay require a disclaimer for even first responders? Holy cow. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Y'all good?
Help me, somebody help me!
Hey, you know what? There is a genre of video out there, and it is the genre that every so often you'll find someone playing a game and they just become an absolute god tier voice actor while being in the game. And that's what this is.
Pretty much. I mean, especially with that proximity chat, it really gets you very animated. And I know a lot of the jokes with even Call of Duty Warzone is like, they're on me, they're coming. And your convoluted brain is starting to turn into a gooner itself. And this guy acted like a firefighter. So I respect that this man jumped into action. But let's dive right into the comments, because the first one says, bro is out there role-playing Rescue Raiders. Hope he brought a defib for you, with the follow-up comment that reads, he kicked down the door and then shouted friendly and then knocked out OP and then proceeded to steal all of his stuff. Wouldn't that be funny? He's like, yeah, dude, I kind of knew you weren't in danger. I just want that PS5 console that you're playing Arc Raiders. That would be hilarious. Yeah, right. And then that's a good man right there. Buy that man a beer and make a new friend. And for context,
honestly, that's someone you can trust your life with.
But you know what's so funny? That photo right there is actually the guy that let this video go viral, dropping it off at his doorstep. And the guy's like, please, no photos. You've already blasted me already through your Ring camera. So the man has been served a six-pack. And then the last comment reads, for context, I was in a night raid on Dam trying to extract from an elevator when a leaper landed on me and then downed me right before the extract door shut. I just wanted to get stabilized so I could leave, and this was the guy from that viral clip. And then a follow-up comment that read, from the footage, it don't look like a leaper, more like a confused Bastion. So, all fair play, fair game. But yeah, we've all been there before. But this is getting kind of wild. Who would have thought right at the the first weeks of January we would be seeing something from Razer that they just unveiled, what they're calling Projekt Ava. It's a holographic AI desk companion, as you can see from this image, that looks kind of like an anime sidekick, I would say, HenricK. I mean, I guess it's using XAI Grok, so, with everybody always asking for every photo in the last week, can you turn her into a bikini string top? This is going to go great. It's going to go great. A lot of gamers have been asking for this. They need live tips.
Exactly what we needed. More of this.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of gaming tips and unsolicited, life advice from this girl or guy, whatever you prefer, in your little cylinder hologram computer visual effect that you want.
Desk companion.
Right. But you can lock one in right now with a $20 deposit for 2026 delivery, assuming you're comfortable with an always-on camera quietly judging your gameplay and your posture. And so before we dive into the comments, gamers, is this the future of desk companions or the most expensive way to be told, HenricK, you just asked, bro, buy a hologram? Is that what it is? Skill issue?
Hey, it definitely could be.
It started to feel like that. So let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Hold A, soldier. We need more air support.
Yeah.
Whoa, clean shot. Nice one.
Oof. Maybe aim for the head next time? Break line of sight.
Switch to burst fire mid-range.
GG. That was amazing. Ready to go again? This is Projekt Ava. Your AI desk companion.
I can't wait for the moment when people buy this and then a few years later it loses support and all of a sudden that desk companion you got so fond of virtually dies.
You almost wonder why, like, Amazon Alexa hasn't jumped onto this. You know what I mean? Like, that was my first reaction. Everybody was so worried about, these Echo Dots, listening in on your conversations. Well, now they literally need a camera on you at all times to be able to know what the hell you're doing wrong and maybe possibly knowing what the hell you're even looking at. But let's dive right into the comments because people are getting very, creative with this. And they go, why can't they give us what we really want? You already know someone. It's definitely going to find a way, right, HenricK?
Well, I mean, that is, going to depend on how locked down it is, but yeah, if someone can find a way, I'm sure that it'll
But
happen.
what did you tell me before the show about Razer? You were like, they're a really good company, right? About, protecting these kind of things in their
Oh
product.
no, I didn't say that, Chris.
Oh.
I said that they're very particular about how you
I
use
misspoke.
their accessories.
Gotcha. Okay, my apologies. Don't want to speak for you. But, when you start to think of, XAI, Grok, and what I was kind of joking about how, like, they really got to fix that situation on the platform. It's a little scary, especially if you're like, I couldn't imagine if I was in high school or if you're a girl. It doesn't matter what age you are. And literally you could just have a photo and be like, hey, why don't you put her in a bikini? Could you imagine what they're going to do with this little cylinder hologram? I mean, there's going to be more than just what you're seeing on screen right now when it comes to Cortana. But let's keep it rolling into the next one, which is, oh, boy, HenricK, are we closer to a Blade Runner than we think? I mean, is Project Ava a threat to destabilize society in the course of civilization like Blade Runner 2049 was exploring?
Some would argue that we're already there. We're living that as we speak.
Yeah, it's wild times.
To say one or the other.
Wild times to be alive. And then the next one is, the funny thing is that you can't build, these data centers forever. Eventually you will stop, and then I hope they will end up with their dicks on their hands with the follow-up meme that reads, boink. So, yeah, I think it's going to be less about what they think they imagine it's going to be. And, yeah, we'll see. If you are a gamer and you got that $20 deposit, message us. We'd love to know how you're vibing with it once you get the real thing. But then also we got a new development. There's a thing called X-Reel that just pulled the curtain back on what they're calling a Rogue X-Reel R1. And so if you can see from this promo, there's a lot going on. You can turn this thing into a 171-inch screen. Clearly, you can connect it to a control dock that can go directly to your PC, or you can travel on the go with the new Xbox Rogue Ally. And they're claiming this is directly for gamers who want to turn their face as, double the graphics card. Right, HenricK?
Yeah. It's basically just a display mounted onto glasses.
But it's a little bit more stylish this time, right? It's not so bulky when you look at it. Maybe you could walk on it with it on the go. Maybe, you're on a date. She's being a little boring. You want to get a little quick, Valorant, gameplay in. And then, you got
1 second.
Right, exactly. Who are you staring at? It better be me, not that girl. You're like, what are you talking about? I got the auto tinting lenses on. And then they got those Bose audio tucked into the temples. And what they're really promoting is this 240 hertz refresh rate, because apparently your eyeballs deserve an esports level performance at all times. And so before we dive into the comments, gamers, is the future of gaming this? Or are we just another way to strap on more hardware directly to our head, as if we didn't have enough already? So let's go ahead and take a look.
And and the idea of it, at the very least, is pretty interesting to me, because it is basically a very nice portable monitor. I mean, you could basically have your monitor that you have at home outside. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, Ray-Ban has been only the more successful smart glasses, I would say, right now, that's like winning over the market. And so if they can find something that fits the niche of gamers, why not? But when I watch that video, I go, holy cow, gaming just got really, really expensive
Yeah.
every day. And so let's go ahead and jump into the first comment, which is me about to enter the future after wearing these. And yeah, why does that look like me? SpongeBob and me, bro. Like, maybe we're both styling right now.
Put on
I don't
some
know if I'd
glasses.
cross my legs like that,
Sunglasses.
but exactly. Too funny. And then, the next comment is, it's actually a very cool idea, but does it work like a VR or like a projector device? With the follow-up comment that reads, it's like having a projector shining in front of you, but technically it's two small displays shining through lenses, and that's how you see the image. In VR, you're completely enclosed in a virtual space. Here, you're still seeing the real world with your own eyes, with a large virtual screen floating in front of you. Sounds cool until you start driving in your car. You know what I
Which
mean?
undoubtedly
Multitasking.
somebody is going to do.
Someone's going to be doing this. Just don't have a beer or a margarita in hand as you're doing this. Holy
No,
cow.
that'd be the kicker right there.
That would be definitely the kicker. And then no one will pay $700 for this. I don't even know if this thing would be worth $700. I have a feeling it's going to be worth more than that. But maybe, do they have to make it like $300 cheaper? I know we're going to be talking about it later in the show, but like, gaming is getting really, really expensive in 2026. And so does that seem like a fair price tag for these glasses?
Well, when you look at the pricing of like an OLED monitor, I mean, an OLED monitor, a nice one, is going to be about that price. So
that's true.
Not too bad of a pricing when you really think about it in that sense.
Yeah, fair. I mean, if you want to be the first to have something, you're going to be paying big and large. And so, yeah, that's clearly what the X-Real wants from you. I just feel like it's going to hurt your eyes. I mean, would that do damage long term? I have no idea.
Hey, we don't know yet, I guess.
We really don't know. But this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we are currently live streaming on YouTube, Meta, and Twitch. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and start subscribing to the channel so you never miss a live show. But this QR code will lead you directly to my YouTube channel, so hit the notification bell so you never, ever miss a live show.
And you see that one right there. That one's my QR code that goes to my YouTube channel. So go ahead and scan it. Go leave me some comments. I'll reply to you. I promise I'll reply to you.
Come on now, baby. And we're always starting to cook up, because this is a fresh show with a lot of great things to be able to discuss live on air. And so, HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh, yeah. Bust out those instruments, Chris, because I know you got them. It's time to talk about a rhythm game.
Let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Unbeatable. Unbeatable is a rhythm adventure game. This means that the core gameplay hook is the rhythm gameplay, but be ready for a bit of story to go along with it as you go from scene to scene. Playing as Beat, a musician, you are thrust into a world where music is outlawed. After meeting other musicians and forming a band, you fight back against the law. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
Alright, here's the game. It's called Unbeatable, but it's not really unbeatable. Clearly, you're talking about it, right?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah,
it is a very unique rhythm game, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah, and I think, the premise is really what it's all about. At least that's what they're trying to push. And that's where, you have to imagine yourself in a city where music is illegal. And your solution is to start a band, right? And it's giving you that kind of like School of Rock. I mean, this is not a rebellion. This is a noise complaints with ambition. And I just feel like when you have a game like, Unbeatable, which drops you into a dystopia where songs are a contraband and crimes are best committed with instruments on your back, did that work for you? Because, part of me, HenricK, was kind of giggling a little bit in a sense where they're like, music's illegal. We don't even know what music even sounds like. But a lot of these characters are carrying instruments on their back. Make it all make sense.
Well, they're carrying them illegally. That's what it is. The whole just so people understand the story maybe a little bit better, the premise of it. It's illegal to play music because it summons these things called silence. and it's just a manifestation of emotions, or maybe even the lack of emotions in some ways.
Yeah.
And that causes destruction on a wide scale. And so they outlawed music as a result of that. And there's a whole organization that makes sure that nobody plays music and rules over the country in a dictatorship as a result of that.
In a sense, though,
So, I
it's like,
mean, these people, they're running around with contraband, and yeah, maybe it doesn't make a ton of sense, but at the same time, think about if they were to get rid of the ability to carry guns in this country.
yeah,
People
and
would
I hate
probably
to be
still
this
run around with
person.
guns.
I hate to be this person to make this comparison, but I feel like, haven't we already heard this story before a little bit? There's a
Oh no, we
gentleman
have. We
named
have.
Johnny Silverhand who plays in a
Yes.
band, and he might not
Yep.
necessarily lose his instruments, but he is singing about anti-establishment messages, and so that was hard for me to get out of my head as I was starting to play this game, and it's a little corny too, in a sense too, especially when you go to the prison and they're like, hey man, like, how did you get here? Well, I taught the clarinet. And you're like, really, dude? And then all of a
When you
sudden,
say it like that, though, it is silly.
it's so dumb, dude. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you follow Beat and her crew as they run from the law, they fight the system, and then somehow, as we're saying, they're carrying these instruments while claiming they don't remember even what music even sounds like. And so, HenricK, like, right out the gate, did that premise grab you, or did you feel like it kind of felt like a missed note?
Actually, it wasn't the premise so much that grabbed my attention. Rather, in this game, it was more the gameplay loop, because we kind of have already, I'm sure, done a good handful of rhythm games on pause or repeat, and they've all typically done the typical thing for a rhythm game where there's maybe a story, but it's just like visual novel style, and it's in
Yeah.
between these levels where you're playing a rhythm game. But this game takes it a different method where, yes, there is the gameplay of the rhythm gameplay, but in between that, you're actually roaming around and talking to people and inspecting things. And it's a bit more of, it reminded me of like the Resident Evil style walking around as well, where it's like the
Mm.
old Resident Evil, where
Yeah, like
there's
PS1,
fixed camera
PS2
angles.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it did seem interesting,
And that does come
but
with
the
camera
story
issues like
does.
this game.
Yeah, exactly. But the story really is at that point a integral part of the experience, and fortunately the story, it is a little silly at times, and it does also suffer from some pacing issues throughout the
Yeah,
story.
I'm with you, HenricK. I feel like the story leans hard into the stylish anime vibes, almost like Persona storyboard escape.
Mm.
It's like Notebook and then wandered into the rhythm game. But the emotional beats feel fuzzy. I mean, especially when characters treat music like a lost art while literally hauling it around town. I still can't get over that. And so, did that contradiction bug you too, or am I being a little overly precious about logic in this game?
Yeah, that contradiction didn't really bother me too much. What bothered me more was that in a game where you're fighting against the establishment, the pacing of the story in the beginning especially can be really, really slow. It makes
Well,
it
especially
feel
when you
like
don't
it's a
even get into
slog to
the
get
rhythm
through.
game. It's like, I
So
feel
yeah,
like the first 30
exactly. You
minutes
haven't
is
really
like
gotten
just
into the
walking
actual
around.
gameplay. So,
Yeah, and then I think another thing too is,
yeah.
oh yeah, go ahead, HenricK. You're gonna say something.
I was just gonna say, and in terms of the story beats, it does have a nice payoff at the very end of the game, but you got to play like 8 hours to get to that point. So
Yeah, but don't you feel like the game, it's like instead of like locking into rhythm, the game scatters itself across like mini games that feel like band practice. If anybody's actually joined a
Mhm.
band where like everyone's in a different tuning on their instruments, you're gonna be like hitting home runs, you're gonna be playing snooker and then dodging camera issues, but rarely feeling like the game knows what a tempo even is. And I think that's what kind of drove me nuts. And did it ever click for you, or did you feel like the conductor never showed up? I feel like it was missing that. Like it feel like a third of the game was rhythm, and then the rest was actually walking around in some of these level designs that feel a little lackluster, I'd say.
well, maybe that's exactly why they put an arcade style mode in the game, because
Yeah.
they understand maybe not everyone's going to jive with the story and their approach to it,
Which is
and
unfortunate
maybe they're
because I
okay
don't.
with that
Do you feel
because
like the
that's
arcade
why they
mode
put
was
that
the
mode in
grab?
there.
I don't think the arcade mode was the grab. Like once I
No,
finished
it
the game,
definitely
I was
wasn't
ready
the
to turn
grab.
the game
The
off.
story mode is what real, like I said, the approach to this kind of game is what drew my attention,
Yeah,
and that is the story mode. The arcade mode, we've seen that tons of times.
yeah.
And
Ripped of the
don't get me wrong,
Necromancer. You know.
the rhythm gameplay is really good, and it goes really well with their excellent soundtrack. But when you're trying to sell the game as this story-based mode being the main focus, and it doesn't really grab me in
Like
the same way
find
that
your
I wanted it
target
to, it's
audience.
a
Like it
shame.
seemed like they didn't know whether they wanted to write to 12 and 16-year-olds or 18 and up. It really didn't know where it was
Yeah.
trying to send this message to. But yeah, like visually, Unbeatable has undeniable style. I mean, it's got bold colors, expressive characters, even though the NPCs lack any kind of emotion. But it does have that slick presentation that screams attitude, something that you love in punk
Yeah.
rock. But the environments often feel empty. I'd say, the NPCs fade like super fast, other than the guy that says, I am in jail because I taught clarinet. I can't get that out of my head. That shit made me laugh so freaking hard. But I don't know. It's like, did the vibe carry you through, or did the world start feeling a little hollow? Because I think that's
Well, I
the
saw it as
draw.
maybe the world feeling like that was part of them trying to represent that you're in a dystopian society where people can't listen to music, something that I feel like is something that's very human, that brings vibrancy to the world. And as a result of the lack of that, there's not really a whole lot of vibrance in that world that you're exploring. But at the same time, when you're looking at the character designs of some of these characters, they're really, really detailed for the main characters, even to the point of like they'll be bouncing on a rhythm, and I
Yeah.
like that. But then you look at and you compare that to like some of the side characters, and you're like, kind of
Yeah, and
touching
then you're
corners
literally
there.
only using like two buttons the whole entire time when it starts to get to the rhythm
Yeah.
game. And it's like that's what's really disappointing, and it starts to feel like a mobile game. And
Hmm.
it's like I don't know. There's nothing that's gonna win me over. And then to see that they already have like these day one DLCs for a game like this, it's like, come on now. For $28, that should have already been in with the game. And yeah, its
Yeah.
ambition is there. It's it like you said, I mean, it does have solid music choices. I mean, the people
Hmm.
that compose this music, it's great, but I just wish that the gameplay and the pacing and just the overall identity was there. It just never really fully harmonized for me, and so that's why I'm gonna say it's a pause. But HenricK, where do
Mm.
you land?
Yeah, I think this is it's a good game, but it wouldn't be a good enough story game for me to replay the story mode. I'll replay the arcade, but as a result of that, I'm going to say that it's a pause for me as well.
Yeah, and I think this is where we leave it off to you, the gamers. Is this rebellion worth sticking with, or one to shelf for now? And that's where we want to hear from you, the gamers. So go ahead and join along for the conversation. But we have so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh, you know I am, Chris. Why don't you get that started?
Let's get it. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Well, all right, gamers. The calendar flipped and the new year hit, and suddenly the gaming world just got hit with the triple espresso of new releases. You're probably wondering, like, I still got to catch up on my backlog from December. Hush now, child. Hush now, child. There's always more room for more games. And so this month isn't just about new games. It's about diving headfirst into the worlds that will either make you a hero or a cautionary tale. What do you think HenricK's going to be? Does he need those extra saves? You tell me.
I think that might be a skill issue if you do.
No, I definitely spam the extra saves. I don't care what anybody says. Fallout taught me that, okay? You spam the saves when you get the chance
Quick
in every
save,
game.
walk 2 seconds. Quick save, walk 2
Open up a
seconds.
door, quick save.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We've all been there. But let's get into the games. The hottest must-play games of January 2026. And first up, imagine being a doctor with 12 days to save an entire town from a plague, while literally everything that could go wrong does. And that's Pathologic 3. You're going to diagnose carefully, make brutal choices, and pray your own sanity holds up. Or no, that's where you, the gamer, comes in. And so I want you to think about this before we start rolling that clip. Would you survive the town, or would you check yourself into the hospital first? I think HenricK would. I'm just kidding.
I've always heard that the first and second game in this series are really good, and I actually have, I'm pretty sure, number 2 in my library, and I've just never played it, so maybe this is the opportunity for me to catch up.
Yeah, I really have no idea what the hell's going on when I look at this video clip. I know a lot of gamers are very excited. I have never been a part of this world, and I see the third one, and I just feel like jumping right on in. It definitely, when you have that really cool, like, Sherlock Holmes kind of style of detective inside a gameplay like this one that really seems to be exploring all different kinds of different mini games within this major, massive world, I think that's why these games get a third entry in their franchises and in their series. And I think that's exciting for a lot of us gamers. And maybe we're sleeping on something that we didn't realize is so freaking badass. And the awesome part about this is Pathologic 3 launches on PC on January 9th. It's like literally right around the corner. So I think that is super, super badass. But then there's another game that's really making waves, and that is from the creators of Apex Legends and Titanfall. Have you heard of them? I think I have. But
Yeah, I think
now,
those are some names people might have heard of.
yeah, exactly. And now they have a new game called High Guard. And so if you ever wanted to ride, shoot, and raid all at the same time while looking like an arcane gunslinger straight out of a mythological cosplay convention or TwitchCon or wherever kind of fun places you cool cats like to go to, well, High Guard should be on your radar. Or is High Guard using a compass? I really don't know. We haven't seen a trailer in like 3 weeks, other than the one that we're about to show. So hopefully it's still launching in time. But gamers, is this your kind of raid, or should we leave the fantasy gunfights to our nightmares? So let's go ahead and take a look at the gameplay.
I know a lot of people are looking at this trailer since it was shown at the Game Awards, very end of it, and they've been saying, "Nah, this game doesn't look like it's it, man. You know what?
Yep.
Let's give it a chance, okay?"
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of like, oh, another hero shooter. Like, can we escape from that? But it's like, what do you think Apex Legends became so popular? People really like those characters and the choices that they have that they can bring to the combat field. And it's like, why judge a game until it's actually released? I think it's pretty badass. I haven't played a game where you can actually mount onto something and move a little bit faster. Isn't that the thing that we always bitch about in games? It's like sometimes it's like, I want to move faster. This is actually kind of providing that. And then I think the idea that they're going to have all different kinds of like, futuristic guns to what looks like there's going to be bow and arrows possibly in the game. And, who gets to say they get to mount on top of a bear and start pwning homies inside an online lobby? That sounds pretty bitchin' to me. Wouldn't you say, HenricK?
No, yeah. And if it's not good, you guys will hear about it in a pause or repeat.
Absolutely.
If it's good, you'll also hear about it.
But it's like we always celebrated Titanfall. We're always like so jazzed about it. It's just amazing to see that like you got the developers that launched this game. It's so many people shitted all over it. I mean, I guess we are very
Yeah.
hypercritical of modern gaming today, and yeah,
Well,
I know,
also,
I'm kind of that person, but oh well.
also to be fair, when you say, "Oh, this is a game from the Apex Legends and Titanfall developers," people kind of expect another Titanfall successor, and yeah, this is
And
not
yeah,
that.
and that's true
So,
too, and it's always gonna hold more weight, for those
hmm
people because it's like, hey, listen now, game's coming out in a couple weeks, and people were anticipating another little teaser trailer, and we haven't really gotten it. And so
hmm
I know that makes
Yep.
some people a little bit nervous whether it's actually going to reach their launch date. And it is going to be launching on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS on January 26th. That is high guard. And then the last game that you definitely want to scope in January 2026 is a game where if you ever wanted to slash, drain, and time travel all at the same time while looking like a high-fashion vampire straight out of like a post-apocalyptic gothic runway, well, Code Vein 2 will keep you savoring for more. And is this that kind of bloodlust, or are you just sitting this dance with death out? Let's face it. Is this something for you? Let's run the gameplay because this thing looks pretty freaking bitchin'.
I know there's maybe a collective groan of, "Oh, this is another Souls like." No, guys, this is a good Souls like.
No, it looks cool. I've never played the first one, and I feel like I'm missing out like big time. And I look at that, and I'm like,
hmm
do I need to jump in now, Henrik? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I would say it's a good time to jump into the first one and see what that was all about before this one
Yeah.
comes out.
No, trust me, I'm definitely feeling
Yeah.
that way. I'm like, oh my god, I got a lot of homework to do, a lot of homework, and there's a lot of games on the horizon, and I,
Yep.
I can't. I only have two hands, Henrik. I can't have like multiple monitors and multiple gaming platforms around me. I gotta take it all one at a time. But no, this looks really badass. I think it's something definitely refreshing. The aesthetic to the art looks really like it's a lot to take in, and so I'm looking forward to some pretty bitchin' boss fights. I know there are some pretty grotesque villains in the game that look very interesting choices, but hey, we'll have
As
to wait
you
and
do
see.
with Souls likes.
Right, exactly. And so if Code Vein 2 is for you, it's going to be launching on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS on January 30th. And for all the gamers out there, if there's a game we didn't mention that's blowing up your world right now, releasing in January 2026, don't hold back. Let the rest of the gamers know what's good in the comments. But all right, Henrik, let's start to switch some gears because it seems like the traditional notion that electronics become obsolete and cheaper over time is currently being upended. Break it down.
Well, heads up, gamers, because hardware prices are climbing yet again. Ongoing shortages in DRAM, NAND, and SSD components for AI data centers means PC and console gear, yeah, it's going to get more expensive. And even the $1,000 Xbox Ally X, which one of my friends, by the way, has always looked at and said, yeah, that doesn't look like a good deal when you have things like the Steam Deck going out there on the market.
But it's
That's
got the
also gonna
X
be
Real, though. The
increasing in
X
price.
Real glasses, That's
Yeah,
what
for
they
another
don't have.
$700.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But your graphic
So-
card's your head.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and hey, keep the word graphics in mind because that's
Right.
another thing to talk about in a
Oh,
moment.
I know, man.
But if you were dreaming of a PS6 or the next Xbox, there's some cool rumors about what's going to happen there. Well, it's not going to happen anytime soon, as
Yeah.
reports suggest that the next gen consoles might not arrive until after 2027. So that
Ooh.
outdated that some people are looking at their PS5 and thinking it's outdated, yeah, it's not going anywhere fast.
Are we
So-
really saying that? Are we really saying
Take it-
PS5's outdated?
Go walk over to your PS5 right now and pet it. It's okay. You'll laugh.
Like it's a chia pet. Like, I hope you grow.
Yeah.
I hope you be better.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring me long life.
Yeah. So with that being said, what are the gamers saying? So let's take a look at some comments that we pulled, and we'll see what they say.
Yeah, so the first one reads, Steve from Gamers Nexus believes that this is a coordinated scheme to make computing on your own hardware unaffordable to the normies, so they'll be forced to use subscription cloud services, renting compute forever. Beginning to think that they may not be paranoid about this. I've been kind of saying that for a while.
Yeah.
I think it's actually really is a legit point. I mean, I've been telling people, like, what have you been missing out on? Like, cloud gaming is pretty freaking badass. But now it's kind of taking a 720, and we have to start to look at ourselves in the face and go, oh, shit. That only means that subscription service prices will also go up, because they're also going to say something like, oh, you know, the management of all these games is just so difficult. Our AI data centers have to, you know, watch all these games. Something's going to get convoluted in the mix.
And this theory, or conspiracy theory, if you want to call it that, it actually does have some weight to it when you think about the fact that a lot of these cloud services are run by companies that are heavily investing in AI. Case in point, Microsoft. They're heavily investing in AI, and I'm sure that they're pulling a lot of the resources that are not being given to gamers as a result. And what do? They also have cloud gaming services.
So it kind of amazes me about how this conversation around AI data centers is always doesn't get the spotlight like cryptocurrency had at one point when it came to the climate change ordeal. Like, this is a lot of resources and energy going towards these movements. And I know even the state of Florida is a little skeptical about bringing these AI data centers even to their own state. I think even Pennsylvania was one of them too, where I think it was Microsoft. I could be totally wrong on this, but they wanted to get a nuclear power plant to be able to get and acquire
just
that
to
energy.
Power everything.
Yeah, you know, so when you start to, you know, see that kind of stuff, it's so wild. So it's like, how is it that they can get that, but they can't provide to the rest of us, you know, single consumers at a affordable fixed rate is beyond me. So it does start to feel a little bit, in a sense, like it might be a scam. But let's keep it rolling, because the next comment reads, you will store nothing, compute nothing, and be happy. Seriously, start hoarding tech. Is that the movement? I mean, even before we jumped on, HenricK, Nvidia was claiming that they might look back into old GPUs and try to figure out if they can bring that AI upscale, which is basically what, fake frames per second to your hard drive. And then they're talking about potentially, you know, slowing down the production of, 5096 graphic drives, and then, you know, producing more of the 3096. And so it's like, did we really miss our window on buying upgrades for our PCs?
It's really seeming like if anyone was trying to upgrade in the last year and they didn't upgrade, you kind of missed your window to actually get a good deal on things, because it's going to be a while before it goes down in price, and that's if it even does go down in price after the shortages end, because they'll see maybe that people are willing to spend the more money, and they might not want to actually drop the prices as a result of that. But hey, this actually is a good opportunity for people to go look at things that maybe are used, or things that they still have, and be like, you know, actually, I have a huge Steam backlog, and the computer I have is good enough to play a majority of those. I don't need that upgrade. I'll just play some games that I've had in my library.
I don't know why I'm envisioning a world starting today where we're going to start having places like pick-a-parts, like we do with automobiles, for computers and consoles. You know what I mean? Pay a fixed rate to walk into our place, rip open the shit out of every kind of hardware, and then see if you can hoard the tech for your own PC. Am I too far off? I mean, come on. I mean, if Nvidia is saying that an RTX
I've looked for places
5090,
like that in LA. I can't find any. Maybe if someone knows, they can let me know. But I haven't
maybe we're
seen
starting
any
to think of a business that we might have to start thinking about. But, you know, like when they have
I
the
think
RT,
that there are technically some recycle places that will let you do that in other parts of the country and in other countries as well.
Yeah, but it's just so wild to think, you know, $2,500 for an RTX 5090 last year. It's getting close to $4,000. They're even anticipating by the end of the year it might be $5,000. I don't think I've seen such a crazy jump in valuation in my entire lifetime. So it is actually very terrifying. But then you also get another comment that reads, the funny thing is that you can't build data centers forever. Eventually you will stop. And then I hope they end up with their dicks on their hands, with the follow-up comment that reads, yeah, but they're building for the next 10 to 15 years. So yay, we'll be close to our 50s.
Yeah,
so like, what is
maybe
it for
we'll
me?
be all forced to be on cloud gaming at that point. That doesn't sound appealing to me.
Well, that's why
yeah.
I keep saying, like, these smart TVs need to start figuring it out and start bringing a lot of this, like, awesome gameplay so we don't even have to be tied to these, you know, consoles and hardware and PC mounts and all that crazy nonsense. But then again, like the first comment reads, you know, like, subscription services, at one point, will they take advantage? Yeah, they probably will. It's like how we used to joke about television, right? You know, cut the cable. Now we're all regretting saying cut the cable. At one point,
'Cause now it's
all
more
the good
expensive than
things-
having cable.
Exactly. And a lot of the good things, unfortunately, do start to dwindle away. And then the last comment reads, yes, all memory is impacted. DDR4, DDR5, GDDR6, GDDR6X, GDDR7, and even the NAND memory is impacted, albeit less significantly. Also, all products that include any kind of memory will be impacted, although those effects will show up later as an old stock is being sold out and old contracts with lower prices start to run out. But the follow-up comment that reads, even my memory is affected? Can't remember when RAM was this expensive, and it's becoming pretty brutal. So, HenricK, will the ongoing global RAM shortage, fueled by the relentless demands for AI, continue to inflict significant pain on consumers and even manufacturers through 2028? And another part, too, to think about as well, and I know this is a very thick question, can the industry find a way to stabilize prices before the next generation of hardware arrives? Like you were saying, the PS6 and the next iteration of the Xbox?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It would really take some big players in the industry to make some changes. And we've already heard from Samsung and SK Hynix, which are the two big manufacturers of RAM, both based in South Korea, that they're not going to overproduce or start to ramp up production now. They're not going to, because they predict that if they do that, then they'll be stuck with an overstock by the time that the prices go down and normalize. So, and you know, to be honest, these guys, they plan years ahead of time. You know, they're not planning like weeks ahead. They're planning like 5-10 years ahead.
Yeah, that's
So,
why a lot of people feel like it was a scheme by
Yeah.
all, you know, three of these companies, even like Crucial, for example, Micron. You know, it's like, dude, what the hell? Everybody all at the same time just decided, like, yeah, you know, you single consumers and you know, you little PC gurus out there.
yeah, that was wild of them
sorry.
to just say that.
Yeah, especially,
Yeah.
you know, like AI data centers, they are causing, you know, a RAM shortage for gamers, but they demand, you know, these massive amounts of memory, leading, you know, to manufacturers to prioritize towards these high margin AI orders. And then they have to reallocate, you know, production and then drive up overall memory prices on all of us, which squeezes supply for consumer PCs, consoles, graphic cards, as you said, HenricK. And yeah, I mean, this is what's making components more expensive and less available for gamers. So we'll leave it like this on a final note for all you gamers out there. With hardware costs skyrocketing and AI hogging all the memory, are you ready to pay the premium to stay on the bleeding edge? Or is it time to settle in and, you know, just see how much life you can squeeze out of your current rig? Let us know what's good. Well, let's keep things rolling because CD Projekt recently sold its DRM-free storefront, GOG, known as Good Old Games, back to the original co-founder for roughly $25 million, insisting the move is a strategic shift to focus on game development rather than a sign of financial instability. And while, you know, GOG, as you can see from, you know, a lot of the games that they supported over the years, they will now operate independently. And it has secured a long-term agreement to remain the primary DRM-free home for future Witcher and Cyberpunk titles. And as we prepare to look at the online reactions, we have to ask ourselves, in an era where, you know, digital ownership feels more like a temporary rental, can a small independent GOG actually survive as the last stand for gamers who want to truly own what they buy? That's where we dive right into the comments. And so, first one reads, sounds like ultimately the only change is in who owns what. Either way, GOG is and remains a great option, and the work they've been doing keeping classic games playable and accessible is nothing short of incredible. With the follow-up comment that reads, I think CDPR would just wanted the stress of handling GOG out of their hands. They've been very upfront over the years about the issues of keeping GOG running and how it's been treading the line of profitable and unprofitable, and now they can still support it by releasing their games on it and maybe kicking a little donation to money and here and there, but they don't want to have to worry about it because it would be counting against their financials. Do you feel like with that comment that holds up any truth?
Oh yeah, definitely. And just for reference, yeah, it is CD Projekt Red that has owned GOG for the longest time, and it traces back to their origins of the company because before they were CD Projekt Red, they were just CD Projekt, and they were one of the only companies that were actually localizing games to be sold legitimately inside of Poland. And so that was their whole business. And then they decided to branch out to actually making games, and they rebranded to CD Projekt Red. And, from there, everyone knows their titles, like Cyberpunk and The Witcher. But yeah, GOG's been one of those things that they've just held on for a while too. And at the end of the day, they're not Steam. So it's a little hard to be profitable when you're not as profitable as Steam and
Yeah, like don't
as
keep
ubiquitous as
delaying this.
Steam at the same time.
Right, and don't keep delaying The Witcher 4. You know what I mean? And I think maybe this was actually a smart move. It's like, dude, like you guys can't micromanage.
Well, now they can actually focus on
tens of
that.
thousands of games, on GOG, and then now they can actually focus on actually being storytellers. And then you want to get ambitious and start announcing a Cyberpunk 2, and it's like just finish The Witcher 4 first, okay? I don't want to hear any other setbacks. And then you also start to think like maybe this is a way for them to convince other people to invest in their studio. You know what I mean? Maybe they've been having that on their financial report, and they're like, guys, it just seems like you guys are a little all over the place about your ambitions, and now it feels a little bit more centralized where it's like, no, we're going back to strictly gaming development, and we'll see whether that's a smart move for them in the long run. I know CD Projekt Red won't be hurt, but it's whether GOG will still hold up, because you're right, Steam and Epic are definitely players in the game. And then the next comment reads, I'm guessing this decision is made to make CDPR a more attractive company for investors, kind of like I was suggesting, GOG being the least performing part of their business. This could work for both parties, to be honest. The condition being, the co-founder is serious about GOG's mission. We'll see, with the follow-up comment that reads, yeah, it improves the fundamentals of CDPR, but I really enjoyed the part about diversity amongst GOG, and it was hoping for it to become an even better alternative to Steam. But to be fair, I mainly played CDPR games on GOG, have a giant libraries on all platforms. And I think, that is an important point. I mean, remember last year, Henry, we were literally talking about as one of the topics that a lot of gamers were super frustrated about, and that is way too many gaming launchers. And so how does GOG find its place amongst Epic Games and Steam?
And that's the thing, because everyone wants, because Steam is such a big player in the storefronts on PC, everyone wants their game to be on Steam if they're going to buy it. And that's the reason why some games that have been Epic Game exclusives have been maybe hindered by the fact that they are only on the Epic Game Store. And if they were released on Steam, they would be selling much more because people wait until it gets released on Steam to actually buy it.
But it's also, remember, like we talked about all last season of season 10 of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, discussing a lot of the European initiatives to, create what's called Stop Killing Games, and hoping that it reaches a world scale. And so what I ask you, HenricK, is let's say Stop Killing Games actually becomes a reality. How will GOG be able to hold up when that's literally their biggest push, is being DRM free?
That's true, yeah. But also, GOG, as the name suggests, Good Old Games, has done a great amount of effort in making games that were not really accessible on PC on modern systems actually playable on modern systems through the development of game patches. Sometimes even helped with the community to put together to actually be able to run some of these older games on modern systems. Because if you try to play a game from the late '90s that was built on or built for PC, it might not actually run on your 2025 or 2026 system. It's
That's a
just
good point.
the architecture has changed too much
But
at that
sometimes
point.
too, HenricK, it doesn't even have to be an old game from the 90s. We literally have a game this month that's going to be affected by this ordeal where if a server closes, the whole game completely goes offline. And there might be a game you
Anthem.
gamers remember. Exactly.
Yep.
Anthem. Anthem's going to be affected this month. And so if you ever own that game, too bad. We have your money now. You'll never be
Yep.
able to play it again. But let's keep it rolling because the next comment reads, if Steam ever goes down the shitification phase, I hope GOG will still be around. With the follow-up comment that reads, if Steam ever goes down, I'm carving myself a wooden leg and never buying another video game again. This is a threat. Try me.
What? What? What is that comment?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that that would have been the best resources of a
Gabe,
weapon
you know,
to go after
Gabe
Valve?
Newell's gonna read that comment and he's be like, "Man, I can't die now."
But isn't that always the fear? If when Gabe goes, you know, the company will lose its prized value.
Yeah,
This entire
that
time.
is the unfortunate thing. Is everyone kind of feels like the weight of Steam being a good platform is on the fact that it's run by Gabe Newell, and whoever takes over, if he passes it on to somebody or if he passes away and then has to pass it on to someone, who knows what kind of person will end up in that position of power.
Well, it's like how we have Mr. Robot, like in the Fallout series. Maybe we just keep him living forever. You know, we do have Razor with that
Robert House?
holographic. Yeah, Robert House. You know what I mean? Like we could keep Gabe forever, and we'll just keep him in a little cylinder. You know, it's only 6 inches tall. You know what I mean? And if we need a friendly advice from him on how to move the company forward, then that's how we save the day, HenricK. See, logic here, gamers. And then the last comment reads, I hope this somehow makes it possible to dedicate some bodies to making the galaxy better. That's kind of like the joke. It's like, if you don't even really like the GOG Galaxy launcher, it's just like, dude, it's never and ever has worked for a lot of people. But with GOG back under its co-founder, can a DRM-free PC-focused store expand to more hardware and truly challenge Steam and Epic, or will it always remain like this niche for a certain kind of gamer?
I really feel like it's probably going to stay just a kind of niche storefront. Something they were actually doing a couple years ago. I'm not entirely sure if they're actually still doing it, but I hope they are. Is they were surveying the people on their storefront and saying, hey, out of these games, or just tell us a game, what game is not on PC that you would like to see on PC? And then they'll try and, actually port it to PC, get the rights to be able to port it to PC, that sort of thing. And there were some interesting titles in there, like some Need for Speed games, I think, that had never gotten a PC port because they were on console only. If they pivoted more to that, that would be really interesting, because that would be something that other storefronts may not actually offer in the same way. If they say, hey, if you want to play this game from that was stuck on a console from 15 years ago, if you want to play it on PC, you got to buy it on our storefront. You can't buy it on Steam because they don't have it.
And that might have to be the draw, but I think that's gonna be a very, very difficult challenge for that company.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also I guess I know it's very important to emphasize again, to all the gamers, DRM-free gaming is important because it does grant players, true ownership of your game. And it gives you that freedom and control, allowing them to be played offline. Even you can install on multiple PCs without restrictions. You would avoid, having to go to a mandatory launcher like we're even discussing right now. You can back up the games easily. And I think those are some of the things that have been missing for a long, long time. And just ensuring long-term access and playability is so freaking important. And, to leave it the question to you, the gamers. Now that GOG has its new old boss back, will it finally reach more hardware, stick to its old game roots, and rattle the big PC storefronts, or just stay the quiet rebel it's always been?
Hey,
Let us
maybe
know.
if, just as a last thought here, maybe if Steam does end up on an Xbox at some point in the future, maybe they can put GOG on there as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's especially something that Apple's fearful of. They're like, nah, we don't want another storefront. You go to our app store. But we'll see. We're going to have to see what's good. But all right, HenricK the Wreck, what are gamers discussing this week online?
And now we're back with a Reddit discussion. And this time, gamers were asked what game mechanics are completely useless. So naturally, gamers put on their thinking caps and remember the moments when they thought, why did the developer even put this in the game?
For real. There's a lot of games like that.
Oh yeah, there's plenty out there. So let's take a look at what they said. They, I'm sure, came up with some creative answers.
Yeah, some of them were actually very intelligent. I mean, the first one here is Doom 2016 has a crouch button. I think even the developers wondered about that when they were doing press for Eternal, with the follow-up comment that reads, without a crouch, how could you teabag in PvP?
That's a good point.
There you go.
Yeah, that is a good point.
It was never meant for the story mode, young lad.
But,
They
yeah, I
knew you were
don't
going to be
think
rushing into the horde.
I don't think I ever crouched in Doom 2016 or Eternal. Thinking back at it.
I don't think. Yeah, never. That's you're lame if you crouch in Doom. And then you also get this one in the original release of Final Fantasy 1. Intelligence did nothing. There was literally no routine in the game, which called on it. This is surprisingly common in early RPGs, where stats were frequently copied from other games in the genre, but the actual calculations were made up on the fly. Do you remember a game similar to like this? I feel like, yeah, probably a lot of the, the old school, Game Boy games, maybe Sega.
Yeah, or like they were saying, like early RPGs from like the SNES era, like that time, when things weren't entirely always a polished experience.
Yeah, there's even people always bitching and complaining even about the Arc Raider skill tree, and they're like, I don't even think this even lets me slide any faster than the person that hasn't even upgraded that perk. What am I even doing? Wasting my time going down this route of the branch. But then we also get games that, kind of like Skyrim, just about every buff potion for 2%, or this, or 5% of that in every single player RPG. Yeah, every time I see those kind of potions, I just ditch them, bro. I'm like, I don't need this in my arsenal.
I would beg to differ in some certain instances, because when you look at things like this, maybe in a casual playthrough, doesn't matter at all. But when you're playing on the highest difficulties, little things like this actually can matter. And maybe not in Skyrim.
Sounds like a skill issue, HenricK.
But,
Sounds like a skill issue. Yeah, you try to hype yourself up like you're playing on a higher difficulty.
I'm saying, like,
I know what you're doing here. I'm not
gonna
let it happen. I'm not gonna let it happen.
If you play like Death March difficulty of Witcher 3, like you're gonna want every single bit of health you can, because that game can be brutal.
Well, yeah, health's one thing, but this says buff potion for 2% or 5%. I even know like potion of fortifying a lockpick.
It's applicable to buff potions in Witcher 3 as well.
Lockpicking is 9%. For 30 seconds. What? So I just carry around this thing until I see something that's really worth my time, or do I just fully max out on the lockpick? I don't know. Help us out, gamers. Is it even worth it or not? And then the entire battle system in Paper Mario, Sticker Store, or Sticker Star? Yeah, that's how
Sticker Star, yeah.
Tongue twister here. What am I reading? A Cat in the Hat book? But anyways, if you skip every battle in the game other than the required ones, you'll miss nothing, because the boss battles require special items instead of actually fighting them. And any in-battle advantages like HP and attacks are gained from exploration instead of gaining experience like a traditional RPG. Yeah, that would be kind of weird if you're playing like a Pokemon game and you're only getting XP by walking around, and then you get into a battle and you're like, I'm not getting experience. I think you would lose the love of Pokemon. I think that does make sense. That's a weird game
also
mechanic.
Based on the fact that, I mean, I know a lot of people who just brute force Pokemon games where they, go out into the bushes and they just keep killing things over and over again. Or sorry, not killing, fainting them.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Get politically correct here. We don't want Pokemon and Nintendo coming after us. You're saying that we're slandering their games, Henrik. Be careful now. They have a lot of lawsuits already.
Just doing that over and over again until they get enough
the court filing starting to build up. The more you keep talking, Henrik, the more we're getting in trouble. No. Well, let's keep it moving because, yeah, I'm scared now. But repeatedly smashing a button to imply that the character is making a great effort with the follow-up comment that reads, bless the developers that allow you to change this to simply holding the button down. My controllers, thank you. For real, dude.
This person has never played Mario Party with people.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I didn't really know what game to associate with this. But the first one that came up to mind is the Skate Story. I've been playing that because it's on the PS Plus Premium. It was like a day one release. And by the way, Henrik, I just gotta tell the gamers, I already told you this even during our off break, but this game pissed me off so badly, bro. They better fix this thing. I went back and not for a repeat value, just because I'm only doing it because I want to beat the game now. But it soft locked me. And it's already damaged my controller enough where I keep having to speed up the guys, footwork. I'm like, let's go faster, because I gotta hit the grind. And if I'm not moving fast, it's a little harder to hit the rail. All right, I don't want to land like Nigel Houston. I don't know if anybody's seen that video. God bless his soul. He's got a fractured skull and an eye. Oof. That's one of the more gnarly. He tried to jump off a 24 step, whatever the hell they call it. See, I'm butchering. I should stick to gaming. I should stick to talking about skateboarding. But I think people get the point. Like, it's just insane. And so, like, when you have to start tapping like crazy, I start thinking about my $75 controller. I'm like, what the hell, man? Do I need to start playing something else? Or, like, what the heck, dude? But, yeah, or like you joking, Nintendo 64, I start thinking about the old school Pokemon Stadium when you start, like, tapping like crazy, or Mario Party. God bless our parents for always buying us new, not affordable controllers. Why do you need another one? I don't understand, Chris. I don't understand.
Amy broke my controller when we were playing Mario Party. He was smashing the B button too hard.
Exactly. It doesn't look broken. I don't see what's wrong with it. But then the last game here is Battletoads. You can accidentally break a weapon you are trying to pick up. Why add this to a game? With the follow-up comment that reads, because it's hilarious and co-op. Maybe that was the
Battletoads, guys. Come on. Battletoads is just known to be that ridiculous.
But that is pretty stupid. I'm kind of with that guy. That is dumb. Yeah. I would be pretty pissed off if I found a really, really cool weapon and all of a sudden the minute I picked it up, it broke. It's like, are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? Like, why? Why are you trolling me? I don't understand. But HenricK, what game mechanic felt so unnecessary that you were convinced it existed purely to justify someone's job title during development?
I was thinking about this, and something that you can come across a lot in a lot of games is a currency, or like some sort of gold or whatever they decide to call it. At some point, it just becomes completely worthless because you either have everything, you don't need to buy anything, or there's been games where I just haven't even used any of it because I just get things anyways that I would otherwise buy in the shop. A good example that I just finished over the New Year's break was Stellar Blade. At some point, the currency that you get in that is just not worth picking up anymore because you have so much of it from doing the side quests that you would never be able to use all of it.
Yeah. See, you actually reached out into the abyss with a really great take. I'm actually keeping it really dumb and simple. Photo mode? Does anybody actually even use that crap? I mean,
Chris,
Death
I'm
Stranding
sure people
2
do use photo mode.
Really? Like, I remember when Death Stranding 2 was being advertised.
But I know people do.
We can move our characters into selfies, and you can change the style approach. And I'm like, really? People are spending time doing this with Norman Reedus?
I'm gonna ruin your perspective of this right now.
Okay, fine, ruin it.
I was just talking about Stellar Blade, right? What is a big appeal to that game for some people is the character design of Eve and the outfits that she wears.
I can't believe you're supporting the Gooners.
But you're supporting the Gooners with the photo mode in that game. And I know people enjoy having the photo mode as a result of that.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't really touch it aside from the quests where you have to take pictures of these things.
Oh, sure, HenricK. Oh, sure, you need to get an up angle from the camera.
It's there.
I know it's there. Okay, I'm sorry.
And
This
I'm
was probably
sure,
a
okay,
terrible
I'm
take
sure
from
people
myself,
have done
but-
that with Death Stranding too as well, okay?
Gosh, it's so dumb. But then again, is there a game mechanic that we're not thinking about where it's like, guys, you're completely missing the bar. This is what's completely lame in a game that just doesn't work. Let us know what's good. But man, this has been an amazing season 11 launch of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we're just going to be throwing out our QR codes one last time. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show.
Take 1 second to just bask in the glory of this QR code you see on the screen. That one goes to my YouTube channel, so go ahead, give that a scan. Go look at some videos. Let me know how I'm doing. More things are on the way.
That's right. And stay up, fam. We will see you around, and have a great rest of the week and conquer the new year. We'll see you soon, fam.